Hi everyone, in this tutorial we are going to talk about how to use text and how to import images into Affinity Photo. And the particular project we're talking about is the typographic animal project. And I've got it started here with the giraffe. I'm going to click on that. Here's what I've got so far, but I'm going to back up and I'm going to show you how I got to this point and how to import images as well. So I'm going to actually make a new file. I'm going to go back. Let me go up to this button right here. I'm going to click on this, get me back to my main screen. I'm going to go up here, right here, this little plus sign. That's to create a new file. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to new document. There's a lot of options here, a lot of choices, but what you're going to do is actually just click on this for now. I'm going to go to new document. And then here's where you want to input all of your dimensions, your canvas size dimensions. 300 DPI is pretty high. I think for this project, we just need to go to 150. So you just click on it and then 150 and then you hit OK. The width and the height, 8.5 by 11 is fine for this project. And it really depends on the orientation. If you are, if you're working with a project or a photo that is portrait style, like if you have an animal that is like a giraffe, like my example, you would want to choose portrait over landscape. If you've got something that's wider, like a snake or maybe a rhino or something like that, you would want to use landscape. So you can always change it afterwards as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here, the width, click on that, oops, single click, and I'm going to put in, for the width, I'm going to do 8.5. And it is in inches. And over here, I'm going to go to height, and I'm going to click on once. I'm going to hit 11, hit OK. So there it is, and it automatically chooses this orientation for me. Don't worry about this other stuff. It's just the color information. Don't worry about that for now. And we're just going to go down here and hit OK. And then it gives me my screen. So if you wanted to, right now it's kind of cutting off the bottom and the top. So you can, with your two fingers, you can kind of pinch it down so you can see everything. And what we're going to be doing is first getting an image from the internet, which you can do a Google search for and then copy and paste the image right in here. Or what you can do, this is kind of a nice feature that Affinity Photo has. It is a built-in gallery, which you click on this little mountain range scene down here. And then it's called Unsplash. So I can type in whatever I want. I'll type in giraffe. Oops, that is not how you spell giraffe. And there we go. I just happen to pick the first one here, but I actually think that's a pretty good photo because it shows the giraffe, not the entire giraffe, but just enough for me to work on. And I think I would avoid straight, like head-on shots of animals. You want to try to go for more profile or 3/4 views. This is more of a 3/4 view or 5/8 view maybe. So what you do is you can use your finger for this or a stylus. You click and hold, and now it's kind of, you see how it's kind of untethered from the gallery, and then just drag it right in. And this is going to come in big. So these photos, for the most part, are really nice size photos in terms of the resolution. So what you can do next is to resize this. You can do a couple of things. You could either kind of click on it. Actually, right now we have the hand tool selected, so that's not really going to allow us to resize this. We'd have to go to the move tool here and click on that. And now when we click on it, it does, if we move it down to the left, we see this blue box here, this boundary box, which will allow us to resize it. The other way, the more sophisticated way, is if we actually go over here, and this is your resizing over here, this tool right here. Right now, it was grayed out, but just because it's grayed out, it doesn't mean that it's not available to you. So you can click on that. And then here are the dimensions right here. This is probably a better way to do it because if we just pull it down, it might actually make the picture taller than it is wide, or it might kind kind of make it irregular looking. So what we want to do is, I know that this is an 11-inch tall image, so I can go right over here to my dimensions. I can click on this where it says height, click on it once, and I can just type in 11, then hit OK. And oh yeah, see what it did? It stretched it. That's exactly what I didn't want to do. So I'm actually going to go down here to undo. What you can also, you might not have these options here, which they're actually available in settings, the undo and redo buttons. If you go to your settings, I can show you that really quickly. You go back. If we go to the wheel up here, this is your settings wheel. Click on that, and then in, I think it's in interface. Yes. So under interface, you click on interface, you've got show, undo, and redo buttons. I highly suggest that you enable that. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to click you click with 2 fingers on the on your iPad at the same time. That will also undo. But I like the arrow buttons myself. So we're going to go back to done here. I'm going to go back to my giraffe, which I screwed up. I'm going to hit the button down here. This is my undo. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the transform, click on that. And what I want to do here, I want to actually constrain the proportions. So I'm going to click on this little lock and that. So I got to click on, I got to tell it what I want to transform, first of all. That's why it was saying 0 and 0 and not these numbers, because I didn't click on anything yet. So I go to my move tool, click on the picture. Now I get the dimensions. I've got it locked. And now I can type in 11 inches, and that should look much different. So when I bring it over, there we go. And I have some extra space that I don't need. I got a little bit extra white space here. So what I can do is I can go to my crop tool right here and crop out what I don't need. So like I'm just doing that. Very easy. I could probably do this too. I don't need all this room on the top either. I could probably do something like that. And then you go down here to the bottom and you hit apply. And that's it. Just a couple more steps here. We're going to go back to our layers, which are right here. If you go to the 3 dots here on top of right above where it says image here, click on that and it opens up all of your layer information. This is the thing that we're talking about right here, this opacity. If you bring your opacity down, it will make the picture less or more transparent and less opaque. So that's actually good for what we want to achieve right now, because we're going to start putting text on top of this, and we don't want the image to compete with the text. So we're going to reduce the opacity just enough so you can see it. So I have mine at 57. 50 is fine too, I bet. And then I can click out anywhere. And now I can actually start to put text in here. And the text button is all the way down the bottom here. In Photoshop, it's a T. In Affinity Photo, it's an A, probably because it's named after the company, A. Or it's called the artistic tool. That's probably why. So we are going to start. You just click on the image here on your canvas, and then you want to look at, I'm going to actually turn this up. You want to look at what areas of the giraffe look like letters. What could we swap out here? So right here, I'm looking at the mouth of the giraffe, and then you got all these little hairs. I would probably stay away from the fine details until you have the general outline of this thing really put together. So maybe focus on the details at the end. But I've got this area right here. I could probably do it with the letter C, or I could do it with the parentheses maybe. This area here could be a V. This is definitely a V shape right here. Maybe a couple of parentheses around the I. Letter V on the top here for this ear. Maybe an upside down U up here. So I'm going to just start with some text here. I'm using the art text, not the frame text. Frame text is if you want to type a paragraph of text. We're just using single letters. So we're going to go with
The art text tool, you click anywhere on the screen, and I'm going to go with the letter C. Okay, and it's tiny. So if I wanted to make it larger, I can up that, and there we go. So this is an example of a serif. I'm sorry, a sans serif font. There are no serifs here. Serifs are like the little extra feet that you might see. I'll show you an example of a serif font. Oops. Gotta select it first. Baskerville is a nice example. This is a serif font, so you get this extra little decoration right here. Serif fonts tend to work better for this project because you've got this extra detail. So I'm going to now, oops. If I want to rotate this, I can go up here to this little guy right here. This is my rotational tool, and I can rotate that. See? If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you go to the corners right here. Any of these corners, not the middle parts, but the corners, and you can make it bigger or smaller. So I can bring that over now. So if I want to move it, I got to go back to my move tool, which is right there, and now I can move it. Okay. And you can also you can squash these letters as well. I wouldn't squash them too much because they might get unrecognizable, but that's basically it. So you kind of try to fit these letters to create the shape of the outline of the animal. And what you don't want to do is just do like, try to outline the animal with tiny letters, like the letter L, for instance, would be done all, like if you did L, 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 L all the way down here, that's not going to be as interesting. Now, you really can't do a whole lot with this neck of the giraffe. You got, the letter L, you could do the number 1, you could do some parentheses perhaps, but it's pretty straight. So you are a little limited in that regard. For the pattern inside the neck, I think I was using, in my example, I was using the not the ampersand, the @ symbol. So if you wanted to do that, click on that. So this is actually a good time to talk about this. You are not limited to what is on the keyboard here. You can also click down here, and you've got all these guys too. So you can use any of these for this project as well. Here's my @ I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna type in there, and then I'm gonna make this much bigger. Oh, I got 2. So I can do that. I can move it to where I want it to go. That roughly fills the area. You can overlap things so that they become more dense. So you're creating more contrast. So let's say I wanted to duplicate this. Very easy. You go up here, and then it says duplicate right there. So I'm going to duplicate this @ and then I can make it smaller. If I want to duplicate it again, click on the 3 dots again, duplicate again. And I've got a few here. Maybe I can rotate it, give it some variety. Bring it down here. Okay, so I'm kind of building up the form here, building up the part of the texture of the pattern in the giraffe's neck. So that is something you can do as well. One thing that you might notice is when you're trying to position your letters, you might notice that you can't position it exactly where you want it to go. So that might be because your snapping is turned on. So I turned my snapping off. So I just clicked on snapping and it brought me to this window. If you want snapping on, what it does is it restricts you to your placement a little bit. So I just turned it off. So that's what I would recommend for this project too. So I'm gonna just hit done. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So that is how you start this project. You're gonna just start dropping in letters and characters. Numbers work as well. Maybe this could be like a number 7 for the ear. That could be kind of interesting. And then you're just gonna
Do that until you've got the entire perimeter and the interior details completed. Good luck.